Hello everyone and welcome to today's training session. In this session, we will explore the blanket sales order to sales order process in the Onfinity system. This process is designed to help businesses manage long-term customer orders in an organized and efficient way. Let's start with a brief overview of today's agenda. We will walk through the steps of creating a blanket sales order, releasing monthly orders, managing deliveries, and sending invoices. Also, we will review a real-life example to make the process easier to understand and follow. Now let's look at the objective of this session. The objective is to enable you to understand the blanket sales order to sales order process and its associated terms in the context of business processes. It also enables you to test the blanket sales order to sales order process in the context of business requirements. Now, let's review the prerequisites for this session. To begin, you will need access to the Onfinity platform with a valid user ID and password. Additionally, Onfinity Basic Setup and Master Data Setup configurations must be completed and available. Please make sure these are in place. Let's begin with the blanket sales order to sales order process use case. This use case will help you better understand how the entire blanket sales order to sales order process works in real-life situations. In this scenario, DevCast Incorporation, a valued enterprise client of Sonic Ventures, has approached the company with a request to establish a long-term sales arrangement for the supply of desktops and Redmi Note 10 smartphones. This sets the stage for our use case, highlighting a real-world business scenario where a client requires multiple products over an extended period. Understanding the client's needs is crucial before creating any sales order in the system. To support their phased deployment plan, DevCast Incorporation requires a total of 60 desktops and 30 smartphones to be delivered over a 3-month period, with monthly releases of 20 desktops and 10 smartphones. This is the basis for our example. In response, the sales team at Sonic Ventures initiates the process by creating a blanket sales order, BSO, that outlines the total quantity, agreed pricing, and delivery terms for the entire duration of the agreement. The blanket sales order serves as the master document, capturing all the essential details up front. This eliminates the need to negotiate terms repeatedly and provides a single reference for all subsequent monthly orders. Rather than generating a new order each month, Sonic Ventures issues a release sales order under the BSO at the beginning of each month, reflecting the specific quantities required: 20 desktops and 10 smartphones. This approach ensures pricing consistency and simplifies order tracking for both parties. Using a release sales order ensures that the monthly deliveries are aligned with the BSO, maintains consistent pricing, and simplifies tracking for both the sales team and the client. Once the order is ready, the products are packed and shipped, accompanied by a delivery order. Following successful delivery to DevCast Incorporation, the finance team generates an accounts receivable AR invoice based on the sales order and delivery order. The invoice is sent to the customer, who processes the payment according to the agreed terms. Generating the AR invoice ensures that the transaction is recorded correctly in the financial system. It triggers payment collection and maintains accurate accounting records, completing the sales cycle for this order. Let's move on to our next topic, which is the blanket sales order to sales order process flowchart. This visual representation provides a clear and comprehensive overview of the entire process, helping you understand each step and how they connect within the system. The process begins with creating a blanket sales order. This serves as the master order, capturing the total quantity, agreed pricing, and delivery terms for the entire period. Next, the sales team creates monthly sales orders under the blanket sales order. Each monthly order specifies the quantities required for that period, ensuring that deliveries align with the client's schedule without needing to create a new order from scratch every month. Following this, the delivery orders are generated. These documents confirm the shipment of products and update the warehouse stock accordingly. Finally, an accounts receivable AR invoice is generated based on the sales and delivery orders. This invoice is sent to the customer for payment, completing the sales cycle and ensuring accurate financial records. By following this flow, teams can stay organized, maintain consistency, and save time across the entire sales order process. Now let's know the basic masters involved in the blanket sales order to sales order process. To record the blanket sales order to sales order process, here are some basic masters which must be available in the system. It includes customer master, product or charge, attribute set instance if the product has multiple attributes, unit of measure, currency, price list, payment term, payment method, and warehouse. All these topics are already covered in their respective training sessions. If you want to learn how to configure them, you can watch the detailed sessions on each topic. Now that we've covered the basic concepts and practical use case of the process, we have a clear understanding of the steps required to execute blanket sales order to sales order business process effectively. This concludes the foundational knowledge of how and what we are going to process within the Onfinity system. Now let's proceed to the system demonstration to explore how blanket sales order to sales order process can be performed step by step. Open the Onfinity platform by entering the designated URL into your web browser. Let's move on to the next step. Now on the login page, enter your user ID. Enter your password. Click on the Login button to access the system. You will now be logged in. Once you log into the system, you will land on the Onfinity homepage. Here, you will find various mosaics that display real-time data based on transactions recorded in the system. These mosaics provide information for analyzing the current business position. The availability of mosaics depends on the user's access rights and the modules installed in the system. It is important to note that the mosaics you see on your screen may differ from those visible on mine, as they can be rearranged or customized according to individual preferences. To make adjustments, navigate to the mosaic section and click on it. From here, you can insert another available mosaic by selecting it and dropping it onto the home page. This allows you to easily adjust and organize mosaics in Onfinity according to your requirements. Feel free to customize it the way you want. To initiate the process, we first need to access the blanket sales order screen. You can either search for blanket sales order using the menu search utility or navigate directly through the sales and marketing module. Within sales and marketing, go to order management, where you will find the blanket sales order. Click on the blanket sales order screen to open the blanket sales order. This will take you to the landing page, where you will see a few mosaics available to help filter the records. By default, only a limited number of mosaics are provided. You can filter the records using the advanced search mosaics. For example, selecting This Month Blanket Sales Orders will display all records created within the current month, while This Week Blanket Sales Orders will display all records created within the current week. Similarly, Today Blanket Sales Orders allows you to view only the records created on the current day. These can be quite useful. Apart from the advanced search mosaics, the warehouse, customer, and document status mosaics can also be used to quickly filter and locate specific records, making it easier to manage and navigate through the blanket sales orders. To begin, click on the New Record mosaic. This will open the screen in single record view, where you can start entering the necessary information to proceed with the process. Before we move further, let's take a moment to understand what a blanket sales order is. It is a long-term procurement agreement between an organization and a customer, which defines pre-approved pricing and terms for goods or services to be delivered periodically over a specified time frame. From this blanket, we release the items each month based on the customer's requirements. On the blanket sales order screen, the header panel is displayed on the left side. This panel displays key details, including the customer name, blanket order number, date ordered, order valid from, order valid to, control type, currency, grand total, and document status. These fields provide a consolidated view and quick information about the sales quotation. In addition to these fields, the header panel also includes two important buttons. The Document Action button is used to process and complete the transaction, while the Posting button is used to update the necessary accounting ledger entries, if applicable. Here, you can begin by selecting the organization under which the blanket sales order is to be created. Next, you need to select the target document type as blanket sales order. This defines the transaction type in the system that will be used for the blanket process. You will then enter the date ordered, which specifies the exact date on which the blanket sales order is being created. Following this, you will define the order valid from date, which indicates the starting date from which the blanket sales order becomes effective, and the order valid to date, which specifies the last date until which the blanket order will remain valid. As per our use case, the time frame is 3 months. Therefore, we will update the order valid to date as the 10th of October, 2025. In the order reference field, you can enter a reference if this blanket sales order is being created based on an existing document or requirement. Next, we need to select the customer, which in this case is DevCast Incorporation. The customer must already be available in the system, with the configuration set to allow blanket sales orders in the customer's Additional Details tab. Once the customer is selected, the customer-related information will automatically populate from the customer master. This includes the invoice to business partner, location, bill to location, user contact, and invoice contact. Next, we have the control type field, which decides how strictly the blanket sales order will control future transactions. The most commonly used and recommended option for blanket sales orders is price and quantity. When this option is selected, users cannot change either the price or the quantity beyond what is defined in the blanket sales order during the release order process. This keeps everything consistent with the agreed terms. If price is selected, the price cannot be changed during release orders, but the quantity can be adjusted if needed. This is useful when demand may vary and more quantity is required, while the price stays fixed. If quantity is selected, the quantity cannot go beyond what is defined in the blanket order, but the price can still be updated. This may be helpful when prices change often, but the usage must stay within limits. For most standard blanket sales orders, it is best to use price and quantity to keep both fixed. So, for our use case, we will proceed with price and quantity as the selected control type. Additionally, you can use the description field to enter any additional notes or remarks. This information is purely for reference, so for now, we will leave it blank. Now we need to select the warehouse for this blanket sales order. Only those warehouses where the Allow Blanket Order check button has been marked as true will be available for selection. Simply choose the appropriate warehouse from the drop-down list. This indicates that the items will be dispatched from the selected warehouse. Next, we have the Price List field. The price list determines how prices are updated in the Lines tab. If the products already have defined prices in the system, they will automatically populate based on the selected price list. Otherwise, it becomes necessary to define the prices manually for the products being processed in this order. Next, we need to define the payment term, which specifies when the payment for this order is expected. You can select any payment term as required. For instance, if we choose a 20 days net payment term, it means the customer will have 20 days to make the payment for this particular order. Next, we need to define the payment method, which specifies how the customer will make the payment, such as through an online transfer or any other method. This can be selected or updated as needed. The sales representative field is automatically populated from the login details of the user. Since we are logged in as Sonic Admin, the representative is displayed accordingly. Finally, the Incoterm field can be set up if there is a requirement to define delivery and shipping terms. This is particularly useful in cases of cross-border or international trade. This is an optional step. After entering all the required details, the next step is to save the header. On Blanket Sales Order screen's Header tab, You will notice the tab buttons as well as a process button called Copy From. If you wish to copy record lines from an existing document, you can use this Copy From button. On the Order Tax tab, you will be able to view the tax breakup once the lines have been inserted into the blanket sales order. Now, let's proceed with inserting a line. You can do this directly from the Order Line Composite view. Simply click on New Record within the Order Line Composite view, and then select the product. In our use case, the product is the desktop. If there is any attribute set instance available for the product, it can be defined in the attribute set instance field at this stage. Since our product does not have an attribute set instance, we will proceed to enter the quantity. The quantity field specifies the actual number of items that will be released. You can either enter the quantity for a specific month or provide the total quantity for the blanket order. If you choose to enter the monthly quantity, for example, 10 units each month, you will need to reactivate the blanket sales order before each release and update the quantity accordingly. For our case, we will simply enter the overall quantity of 60 units. In the quantity estimation field, the total quantity is also recorded as an estimate, which represents the maximum limit and cannot be exceeded. For now, let's also enter the quantity estimation as 60. Next, we can make changes in the price, if required. In this case, the price is being fetched directly from the selected price list. Once the details are verified, simply save the line to complete the entry. In the same way, we can also enter lines directly from the Lines tab. Let's walk through this method as well. Click on Lines tab button to move on Lines tab. Now click on New Record, which will open the screen in Single Record view to create a new record. Here, we also have the option to add a charge, such as transportation or other additional costs, if required. However, in our use case, this step is not necessary. We are going to keep it simple. For each transaction line, we can select either a charge or a product. In this example, our second product is the Redmi Note 10, which we will now select in the product field. The Redmi Note 10 product has an attribute set instance. To define this, click on the Attribute Set Instance field option. This opens the Attribute Set Instance form. From this form, we need to select the appropriate attributes. If a new instance is being created, we can choose the required values from the drop-down, based on the attribute configuration. Alternatively, if an attribute already exists, we can use the Select Existing record. It depends on what you need. If you want to view all available records, including those with negative entries, you can enable the Show All checkbox. Once the required attribute is selected, click OK, and then confirm again by clicking OK. This will add the attribute set instance to the line and update the record accordingly. Based on the setup in the selected price list, the price for the product will automatically appear. If necessary, you can make adjustments to the price at this stage. Now, we need to enter the quantity estimation, which we will set as 30, and then specify the quantity to be released, which will also be 30. Remember, the quantity entered cannot exceed the estimation quantity. Once the values are entered, save the line. After saving, the details such as the tax amount, and line total will be automatically updated. Once the blanket order is completed, the reserved quantity will be updated to reflect the items set aside for delivery and release. When a release order is created, the quantity released will be updated in the system. Similarly, once the delivery order is generated, the quantity delivered will be reflected accordingly. The line history will be updated once we process and complete the blanket sales order. Later, if any changes are made after reactivating the record as per business requirements, those updates will also be comparable with the original version. Now, let's move back to the Header tab. To complete the transaction, click on the Document Action button available in the Header panel. When the Document Action page opens, select Complete, and then Confirm by clicking OK. By completing this record, the Release Sales Order Process button will now be displayed. To create a sales order, simply click on the Release Sales Order button. This will generate a release sales order, which will then be available on the sales order screen. After processing the blanket sales order, we can now move to the sales order screen. To access it, go to the Sales and Marketing module, then navigate to Order Management, and here you will find the sales order. Click on it to open the sales order screen. Once the screen opens, it will take us to the sales order landing page. This is how we access the sales order screen. Before we move ahead, let's first take a moment to understand what a sales order actually is. A sales order is a formal document that confirms the products, services, and agreed pricing of a sale. It typically includes details such as product descriptions, quantities, prices, and delivery terms. On the landing page of the sales order screen, you will also notice a number of default mosaics available. These mosaics can be used for quick filtering of records, as well as for analysis through key performance indicators and charts that provide insights into the organization's sales performance. We can also use due fulfillments and expected fulfillments mosaics to create the delivery order directly from the mosaic. Now let's move to the sales order records. Here you will find the release sales order that was created. To view the details, simply click on the document number hyperlink to open the record in single record view. Based on the details provided in the blanket sales order, the corresponding information is automatically carried over into the sales order. The organization is already filled in, and the target document type is updated as Release Sales Order. The order reference is also linked back to the blanket sales order number for tracking purposes. The date ordered indicates the date on which the order is created, while the date promised reflects the expected delivery date. By default, this is set to the current date of creation, but it can be adjusted if needed. The customer information is also updated automatically, along with the location details. Additionally, the order priority is available here and can be changed or managed as required. The warehouse price list, payment term, payment method, and currency rate type are included in the sales order header. This completes the overview of the sales order header. Now, we can verify the line details from the Lines tab composite view. Since this order is specific to a monthly release, we need to update the line quantities accordingly. In our case, we simply adjust the quantity for the desktop to 20 units, and for the Redmi Note 10, we update it to 10 units. Once the required quantities are entered, we save the line to confirm the changes. If you want to make any changes or verify the details, you can do so from the Lines tab. Simply click on the Lines tab button to navigate to the Lines tab. Next, click on the line number hyperlink to view the record in single record view. Here, you can verify that all the details are displayed correctly. Similarly, you can check the date promised, selected product, attribute if any, unit of measure, quantity, prices, tax, and list price. If you remember, we used the control type on the blanket sales order and set it as quantity and price. Now let's try to make changes to the price and see if the system allows it. After making the change, try saving the line. You will notice that an error appears. The price cannot be changed because of the control type setting. This demonstrates the function of the control type in the system. Now just move to Header tab and complete the record. Click on the Document Action button in the header panel, confirm by clicking OK, and the release sales order will be completed. This is how we can use the sales order to release quantities for a particular month. If we return to the blanket sales order screen and navigate to the Lines tab, you will see that the quantity has been updated. Similarly, the quantity released is also updated to reflect the 20 units released from this blanket order line. Additionally, if we click on Line History, we can see that the line history has been updated accordingly. Another approach we can use here is to reactivate the blanket sales order. After reactivating, for the next month, if we need to release only 20 desktops, we can simply update the quantity to 20. Then, just complete the record again. This way, we do not need to make changes manually on the sales order screen. So, This is also one way we can follow. It depends on what you prefer. Now, let's move back to the sales order screen. From here, go to the landing page. Open the Mosaic section and refresh it so that the Mosaic's records are updated. You will notice that under the expected fulfillment mosaic, the sales order we created will appear. If you want to create a delivery order directly from this mosaic, simply click on the document number, select the item lines, and then click on the Generate Delivery Order button. This action will create the delivery order. The system will then navigate directly to the delivery order screen, where the created record is displayed in grid view. This is a quick and easy way to generate the delivery order. The delivery order serves as the document that records the movement of goods from the warehouse to the customer based on the sales order. It also ensures that inventory is updated and the correct items are confirmed as shipped. If we open the delivery order manually using the menu utility, we can also find the order number for creating the delivery order from the pending deliveries and expected deliveries mosaics on the delivery order landing page. Let's first move to the landing page. Here, we will find the same set of mosaics, pending deliveries and expected deliveries, which can be used to create a delivery order directly from the mosaic. On the landing page, you will also see mosaics that can be used to filter records. The available filters include advanced search, warehouse, customer, document type, shipper, and document status. As discussed earlier, the pending deliveries and expected deliveries mosaics are static. From these mosaics, we can directly create a delivery order based on the available sales orders. In addition, there are other mosaics provided to open forms and processes that are used to generate delivery orders and invoices, apart from the standard screen options. With respect to business partners, the available process options include Generate Delivery Order Manual and Generate Invoice Manual. These are different options for creating delivery orders and invoices. Now, if we move back to our record, we can select the created record and open it in single record view by clicking on the hyperlink. Here, all the information is updated directly from the sales order record. If we want to make changes to certain details, such as the movement date, for example, specifying that the delivery is made on the 12th of July 2025, we can update it here. The rest of the details are carried over directly from the sales order. You can modify it the way you want. So, this is how a delivery order works when created through the mosaic, where only minimal changes are required. If we want to create a delivery order record manually, we begin by clicking on New Record. Then, select the organization, choose the document type for processing, and set the movement date. In the sales order field, select the order on which this delivery is based. Once selected, the system will automatically populate the related details, such as the warehouse, customer information, Incoterms if applicable, and the shipping rule, which specifies that delivery processing will occur only once the required item quantities are available in the warehouse. If there are any additional shipment details, those can be entered in the shipment section. In the shipment section, we can define details such as the shipping method, freight category, shipper transportation ID, shipping business partner, transport number, tracking number, vehicle name, vehicle registration number, number of packages, gross weight, and tare weight. These fields will be covered in detail during their respective dedicated sessions. For now, we will skip these fields. They are primarily used in processes such as e-billing and e-invoicing. In the standard process, they are not typically required. However, if any additional processes are being followed, these details can be entered here as informational records. These details we do not require for the demonstration. If we wish to create a line directly during the manual process, we can use the Create Lines From button. Another option is to insert the line from a cart. If a cart has already been created, we can simply click on the Create Lines From Cart button. This opens the Create Lines From Cart page, where the available carts are listed, and we can select the appropriate cart from here. For now, We can close this option since no cart has been created. This is also an option. We have already understood the process of cart creation in detail, so you can refer to the dedicated session on carts for more information. The next step is the Generate AR Invoice Process button. Once the delivery order record has been completed, we can generate AR invoices directly from the delivery order screen, as we already understood in our previous session. Refer to the session for more information. After verifying all details and inserting the required lines, simply complete the record by clicking on the Document Action button in the header panel, selecting Complete, and confirming with OK. At this point, the record is ready, and we can proceed to generate the AR invoice. For this demonstration, we will create the AR invoice using the manual process. Let's move to the Delivery Order landing page, where the Generate Invoice manual mosaic is available. To begin, just click on the Generate Invoice manual mosaic. Once the process page opens, the first step is to select the organization. Based on this selection, the open sales orders will be displayed. If we want to filter these sales orders, we can enter the customer name in the Business Partner field. For instance, since our customer is DevCast Incorporation, we select it here, and the system filters the records accordingly. This is how we narrow down the sales orders. We can also filter records by using the Document Number field. After selecting the desired document, simply click OK, and the AR invoice transaction record will be generated. The system now displays the created AR invoice document number. This is the unique document number of the AR invoice, and we can copy it for reference or use it to verify the record later in the invoice screen. To open the AR invoice screen, go to the menu. You can either search for AR invoice directly using the menu search utility or navigate through the modules. Under Financial Management, go to Accounts Receivable, where you will find the AR invoice. Click on AR invoice to open it. Once the screen opens, you will land on the landing page, where you will also find mosaics available for the AR invoice screen. These mosaics can be used for filtering purposes and for displaying real-time transaction details. Since this has already been explained in detail in the dedicated session on AR invoices, we will not go deeper into it here. For now, simply click on the View Record mosaic to access our record. Our document number was 100,015. We can simply click on the document number hyperlink to open it in single record view. Based on the AR invoice manual process we just ran, this transaction has already been completed directly from the manual process. Here, we can verify all the details of the record. So, this is how you can process a blanket sales order through to the sales order, then the delivery order, and finally the AR invoice in the Onfinity system. I hope it was helpful. That brings us to the end of our session. Thank you for attending. If you have any questions or need further assistance, please feel free to reach out. Hope to see you soon.